Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cassie Villela, and I'm a realtor, property manager, and investor here in San Antonio, Texas. On my channel, we talk about all things real estate, from data and investing to home and garden. So if that's your cup of tea, remember to like, follow, subscribe, all of the things. I'm on all of the social medias as Cassie Villela, my name. So follow me, whatever works the best for you. I publish this content at pretty much all of those outlets. But YouTube is I would say my main outlet. We're gonna get started with our December 2021 market update, wrapping up the year. I think that all of us would agree that this year was wild. This, especially in real estate, just blew me away. I think last year, 2020, we all thought was already like as extra as it gets, and then 2021 was like, hold my beer, came along in just every facet of life. Totally outdid 2020. So, it is what it is, but hopefully 2022, I personally am hoping that it is a little bit calmer than 2021. So we're going to start out with the COVID updates like we always do. San Antonio has been, hit by the Omicron variant, but the numbers show that it's still mild right now. It's holding steady. We have a lot of new cases, but hospitalized ICU patients are lower than they've been. So, not great, but not terrible. Hopefully after the holidays that will stay like it is. But that's where we are. So I'm going to move on to single family home showings per week. That's what SFH stands for. Sometimes I forget to say that. It stands for single family home, just a house, like all of us would call it. So we are just exactly where we were this time last year. You can see that the last week of November, you have sort of the Thanksgiving slump in showings. That's completely to be expected. And then, showings are a little bit lower this time of year with the holidays and everything. But as you can see, compared to this time last year, it was also slowing down. So I totally anticipate that the next couple of weeks of December will go way down. And then, as January, the new year starts, we'll pop right back up. Rental showings per week, exactly tracking last year's line at this point in time. So same thing, Thanksgiving slump, Christmas slump, holiday slump. But I say slump, but it's not as though all of that stops, There are still people looking. I'm doing showings in the winter. So, if you're a landlord, a little bit of a slowdown in rental showings, it's not a reason to not list the home in the winter or to worry a whole lot about, obviously we all would rather list in June, but if you end up having a list in December in San Antonio, that's not like the end of the world. We always have military, we have new people coming in all the time, doctors, medical field workers. So, you don't need to worry. I know that a lot of investors get really paranoid about oh my gosh, I don't want my leases to end in December because that's the worst time of year. People still need a place to live in December. And what I notice is that people who are looking in December are generally more serious. There's a lot of tire kickers in, May, June. That's when some people are I wonder if I might want to move. People who are looking in December are I'm ready to move in tomorrow. They're not messing around. So I don't know, just to put your mind at ease if that's you. Weekly home sales, again, just like we were last year, a little bit more of a severe of a dip over the Thanksgiving, week. But I wouldn't read anything into that because you can see the next week it more than made up for it. So those two sort of average out there. Median price, we're still going along way, way higher than last year. We 300,000 median price. We just blew right past that in the summer. And, we're continuing to go up and up. And so I use the median price as opposed to the average price because, I tend to think that the median price is a more accurate reflection of the actual kind of average median price, because averages are skewed by like multi-million dollar properties. Not only just million-dollar homes and things in San Antonio, but our MLS contains ranches and things, outside of the city that are going to be millions of dollars. So I think that just the median price tells you really more exactly kind of where we are. I think it's a better metric. So median sales price, we have leveled off. October, November leveled off a little bit. So right around that 300,000, like we've just been talking about. New listings are decreasing. Obviously, we expect that going into November. If you look at this time last year, you can see that that line is almost exactly matching where it was at the end of 2020 or in November 2020. So fully expect for when I'm doing the January update for that line to continue to go down and follow kind of last year's sort of projection, as it seems to be doing perfectly. Homes for sale are lower. Again, fewer new listings means fewer homes for sale. Pending sales are also down a bit. Again, fewer new listings is going to result in fewer pending sales and fewer closed sales. So, and if we look at this time this year versus this time last year on this chart, you can see that we, again, expect to be exactly where we are. So it's just following kind of its normal cyclical pattern. Median days on market have leveled out right around, the low 20s, 22 to 24. They seem to be kind of staying at that level. We'll look at it later. It's another slide later. Median price per square foot, a huge increase since last month. So, well, not huge, but it goes up quite a bit. I would say that $325,000 or more line perked up a bit. And so I would say that pulled that average up a little bit. But, we'll see. I don't think that's like the beginning of a runaway spike. It's just increased a little bit. Percent of last list price, we're kind of right at 100 right now. Over the span, of a few months, went over 100% of list price. Now we're back to just 100% of list price. So that's still, to me indicates that it is still very much a seller's market. If you're a buyer coming in, you need to offer full price. If that makes sense, of course, always pull comps, always make sure that the list price is accurate, because, some people put crazy things. But for the most part, if you're going to get a house under contract, it's going to be at list price. Month supply. So, 6 months is a balanced market, like I always remind you. So we're down around 1.5 months of inventory in the San Antonio market. So again, that means it's a seller's market. So we're moving on to the Sabre market statistics data. So they pull this from the Real Estate Center at Texas A&M University. That is a really good source for data. If you are in real estate and you are wondering about different trends, definitely check out the Real Estate Center at Texas A&M University's website. They have all of the data you could think about there. So I use the market statistics that Sabre puts out. They look through that and they kind of put it in a nice, neat little package. You can also go on there. You don't have to be a realtor to get that information. It's on the public website. So just look at their market statistics page. November single family home sales, slight decrease, but not anything I'm going to worry about. Prices, as expected, double-digit increase, almost 20% increase year over year. So our median price right now is $307,200, which again is bonkers to me, but it is what it is. The days on market last year was 49 days on market. This year, 32 days on market. So just about a month across the board, across all price ranges, across the entire MLS, 32 days on market. Multifamily sales, a bit of a decrease, but remember that with the low numbers here, it's just kind of to keep the pulse. Increase on prices is pretty much to be expected. I think that average increase, I suspect that there's probably a really expensive fourplex thrown in there that has skewed the average, but you can see that the median is more or less, has increased about with the market. Rental properties, we know that November is a low month for tenants moving and things, so 950 units rented out in November, which is pretty comparable to 984 in 2020, in November 2020. The rent price, though, has increased 8%. So the average rent price in San Antonio right now is $1,670. That's a lot. Now I do want to point out that does not include apartments. Apartments have a separate database. This is residential rentals listed on the MLS, which is going to be primarily single family homes, occasionally a townhome or a condo, or duplex, fourplex, things like that, but primarily single family homes. So if you are looking to rent a home in San Antonio at this point, you're looking at an average rental price of $1,670. And I pulled this up. I was doing this, putting this together, and I was like, gosh, that just sounds like so much for San Antonio. And so I pulled up the median income in San Antonio. So the median household income is $52,400, according to the Census Bureau from a couple years ago. Some other sites that I pulled had that number a little bit higher, like 56,000. But if you do the math on that, we as property managers, as landlords, the typical rule for approving a tenant's application is that their income has to be 3 times the rent. So if you do the math, they would have to earn at least $5,000 a month, and then that is equaling $60,000 a year. So I want to point that out because I'm just concerned that our average rental property now exceeds 3 times the average salary in San Antonio, or the average household income, I should say. That's worrisome to me, because as somebody who has to market these homes, put them on the market, find tenants, if there are fewer and fewer people who can afford the rent, what is that going to do? So I don't know. I have no idea what the answer is. I have no idea what the future is. I just wanted to point that out, as our rent seems to be running away from our average salary. The incomes are not keeping up. I know that's the story across the board right now with inflation, what it is. But if you are from a market that has higher rents than the salaries can really justify, definitely comment. Let me know how that plays out, what that transition looks like. How do you find tenants? Do you just change your rules, your acceptance rules, your eligibility criteria? Do you lower the rent? What is the answer? What do you do? How do you solve that problem? I'm super interested. Moving back on to data. So this is the data that I get from Independence Title. Again, this is free on their website to the public. Anybody can see it. I like to include this because even though the 2021 data we sort of already covered in the previous graphs, this one compares it to the last 5 whole years. And so we see that 2021 just up far and away exceeded all of the other years. I want to point out again, I think I did this last time, but again, that I think that has more to do with the prices having gone up. It's not that more homes are being sold, it's that the prices have increased pretty dramatically. Median sales price, you can see how it did kind of level out there for a little while, and then now it's gone back up a little bit. We kind of have that progression, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. We kind of have the lines just sort of increasing at a pretty consistent slope. And then all of a sudden, 2021 is just this huge gap in between that and 2020. Average sales price, same story. Sales volume, again, same story. Months of inventory, we have, about this time last year, we had about 2.5. Now we're down around 1.5 months of inventory. Back in 2017, 2018, we thought that was a just fire hot market and it was impossible for buyers to get homes. And that was at 3.5 months inventory. So you can see how dramatic that change has been. So, I feel like a broken record every month. We just, prices are still going up. Yep, it's still a seller's market, but it is what it is. I don't know about next year. I don't know how, the Great Resignation is going to affect the market. I have a hunch that San Antonio is pretty safe, pretty secure because of all of the industry we have here in town. But, hopefully this market will find a happy balance and everybody will be able to get what they need. I hope that was helpful. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions, if you have any other sources or anything to add. Definitely let me know. I'm still learning. I still learn from other investors and other agents every day. So that would be great. Have a great holiday season. I am wishing you the best in 2022, and I'll see you next time.